And we're live. What's up, Warriors? Today we are back with our second episode, or if you're live with us, then live on Facebook with Weekend Warrior workouts. We're going to show you how to work out, where it's a follow along workout, or maybe it's a workout instructional, maybe it's just advice and healthy ways to avoid injury during workouts. Whatever it might be, it's all going to be focused on exercise with diabetes. Exercises and fitness routines and how all of that can affect your diabetes and your blood sugars, how to do it safely, and how to meet your fitness goals in the fastest manner possible while remaining safe. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to get into our ab exercises later on, but sometimes life and diabetes gets in the way of what you want to do, so we're going to talk about being adaptable with your workouts. Talk about how you can't maintain a rigid schedule with diabetes. You have to adapt to your blood sugars, you have to adapt to your medication needs, and ultimately you have to adapt so that you can lead a healthier life and safer life. So what I mean by that is, as we all know, there are many variables with diabetes and what affects blood sugars, one of those being exercise type. So, for example, if you were to do a cardiovascular workout, there's a good chance that's going to drop your blood sugars. That's a general statement for most people. It's not for everyone, but for most people that will drop your blood sugars. And especially if you have insulin on board or if you have medication that you're taking, that will drop it even faster. So with the adaptations that I'm talking about, if you are already either dropping to a low blood sugar or you have low blood sugar, you probably should stay away from cardiovascular exercise, because that's going to cause you to drop faster and drop lower. We don't want that. So if you're a distance runner, or if you enjoy running, or you were even just planning on going for a run, make sure you fix those low glucose numbers first, and then you can consider going for your run, because you want to be in a safe place before you start that exercise. If you were to go on the exercise, go on the run, go for a swim, a walk, whatever it is, with the low blood sugars, you run the risk of going even lower and going to hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. And low blood sugar is defined as anything below 80, or some people classify it as below 70, but either way, we want to stay above those numbers to avoid the risk of passing out or getting shaky if you're driving, having an accident. We don't want any of that. So we want good glucose starting numbers before you start that run. Now on the other side of things, on the flip side, with resistance training, so in other words, if you are lifting weights, if you're doing squats with the barbell, if you are doing bicep curls, the standard bro workout, you will likely have an experience of rising blood sugars. The reason for this is cortisol is released in your body, you're causing stress inside of your body, you're breaking down muscle tissue, causes the cortisol to be released. Cortisol is a stress hormone, getting a little sciencey there. That will cause, in most people, a rise in blood sugars. Now, what I mean with the adaptivity, being adaptable with your workouts and diabetes, if you're already at a high blood sugar, and high blood sugar can be defined as anything above 130 for most endocrinologists, that's the numbers they give us. If you're above 130 and you're rising, that's above perfect range, but high blood sugar they would define as above 180, so that's a correction. Ignore the 130. Above 180 is high. You don't want to be above 180 and starting a resistance training workout, because there's a good chance you're going to keep rising and go over 200, 250. We don't want to be up in those numbers, because that causes damage to our blood vessels. It causes damage to our internal organs. It stretches the blood vessels out, and long term that can be a dangerous thing. So with resistance training, you want to be in that magic number below 180. If you can't. Now most people, a safe zone that they aim for, and what they're told to aim for, is to be above 150. That way you have some wiggle room in case you drop at the beginning of your workout. However, these are generalized statements. This will vary from person to person. Some people like to be at 120 in the perfect blood sugar range because they know it's not going to move. But some people, if they know they're going to drop, they'll start a little bit higher, 150, 160, and this enables them to have that cushion in case they do drop during their workouts. And if you drop at the gym, that can also be a very dangerous place to have low blood glucose, because you're most likely either on a treadmill or you're lifting weights, and if you're running on a treadmill and you have low blood glucose, let's say you pass out, worst case scenario. You pass out on a treadmill, you're going to fall, tumble, and it's going to shoot you across the room because you're running on it. We don't want to get hurt, and that's a great way to get hurt. If you're lifting weights, let's say you're squatting with a barbell on your back and you pass out, or you just get shaky and you can't hold the weight up any longer. That barbell is going to force you to the ground and injure you very badly, most likely, because you have the weight of the barbell crushing you into the floor. We don't want that either. So, to avoid those issues in the gym or in life or on your run, whatever it is, you want to keep those blood glucose numbers at a good starting range before we start the workouts. This will enable you to have a safe and productive workout, get what you want done, and meet your goals faster. So, don't go running if you're going low. Don't go resistance training, lifting weights if you're rising, going high blood sugar. On the other side of that, though, is what you can do. So something that I've done, personally, this is kind of like a diabetes hack. A generalized statement that I'm going to say is not what I'm telling you to do. This is what I do for myself. If I notice that I'm dropping a little bit, I start my resistance training early, because for me, I know that's going to rise me a little bit. So if I notice it's starting to go a little bit down, I'll start lifting heavy weights, and within about 15 minutes, it starts to even out and go back up. On the other side of that, if I'm starting to see a little bit of a rise in blood sugars that I don't want, it's an unwarranted rise in blood sugars, I'll hop on the treadmill, I'll hop on an exercise bike, I'll do 5-10 minutes of cardio, I'll notice it start to drop again and go back into a normal range. So there's ways that you can kind of hack your body for most people, and again, this is something that you have to figure out for yourself. This is not going to work for everyone the same ways that it works for me, but if you have stable blood sugars and you're able to kind of experiment and see what happens with different workouts, you'd be fascinated to see how you can use those workouts to manipulate your blood sugars. And so that's something that I use in the gym. I usually start off with a bit of an intense warm-up, and that usually gets my blood sugars going down just a little bit. Then I go out and I stretch. So stretching, dynamic stretches, and an ab workout that enables my blood sugars to stop dropping as fast as they were and kind of stabilize. And then I go into my resistance training, which rises it back up just a tad, and I stay in that little zone of perfection. And it works wonders for me. But I've noticed that if I do switch it up, if I do all cardio, it does drop a little bit further than I'd like it to. If I do all resistance training, it kind of climbs a little bit more than I was hoping. And so for me, that's the best plan that I've had for my blood sugars. And unfortunately, as diabetics, we do have to take all that into account. We can't just go and do whatever workout we want. You know, today I'm going to do arms. I'm going to get big arms, and so I'm going to go work out arms and arms alone. Well, if your blood sugars are already high, maybe you shouldn't do that. And unfortunately, that's the cards that we've been dealt. But we are able to use our workouts to manipulate the blood sugars to get us towards that better health. And that is one way to use your workouts to live a better and healthier life as a diabetic. As I said, there are many variables with diabetes, workouts being one of them. You can also fuel before and after or during. If you have those hypoglycemic episodes, I know runners will often either take less medication before their run for a post-run or pre-run meal. So that way they have a little bit of extra carbs, they have more sugar flowing through their bodies to fuel them, and it helps stop that drop. Or during, they'll carry a case of glucose tablets. I have mine over there, we'll show it in the workout portion. The glucose tablets are a great little boost if you are starting to drop during a run or during a workout. Each tablet, as far as the ones that I have, are 4 grams of carbohydrates, 4 grams of quick sugars. It's just enough to boost you up a little bit, and if you need more, you take more. So there are different ways to prepare yourselves for these workouts that will enable you to keep going and keep meeting your goals, so you don't have to stop working out if you have those low blood sugar episodes. And for those of you on medication, there are some people who have to change. Let's say if you're on an insulin pump like I am. I have this guy right here, and if you are, a lot of people will change their temporary basal rates, which enables them to prepare their bodies for that workout. So if they're going to go resistance training, sometimes they will add insulin. If they're going to go for a run, sometimes they'll decrease insulin. Again, not the same for everyone. I've seen some posts and some stories that I've heard from clients that they go for a run, they actually have to increase insulin. I don't know how that works, because that's not how most diabetics work, but for some people that's how it is, and you have to figure that out for yourself. Unfortunately, there is no one answer for everyone, because all of our bodies will react differently to foods, to fats, to proteins, to carbs, especially to medication, whether it's oral medication like metformin or it's injectable medication like insulin. There are different types of insulin, different types of long-acting, different types of short-acting. All of these things come into play when we're working out and going through life, but especially working out, because workouts definitely will, they change the way your body interacts with food and with medication. For example, I mentioned earlier, if you have medication on board, if you have insulin on board, and you go to work out, that's likely going to increase the usage of that insulin you already have on board, and it could cause a very quick drop in blood sugars. It's something we do not want to experience. So for me personally, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I like to wait a minimum of 2 hours after eating before I start my workouts, because that way I have a lot less insulin on board than I would if I were to eat and go straight to the gym. On that note, with a diabetic or a non-diabetic, it's still wise to wait 60 to 90 minutes after eating to go to the gym. You want that digestion to be happening. You don't want to be going on a full stomach. You'll feel sick most likely, and your body will store all that food as fat because it wants to store it for energy. So it's wise to wait 60 to 90 minutes for the average person, and for the diabetic, personally, I would say wait at least 2 hours so you have less medication on board. However, that varies person to person, and there are different ways to hack that. If your blood sugars are running high after that meal, maybe you go a little early and do a light warm-up, see if that starts to drop them a little bit. But if you're too high, over something like 300, probably don't want to work out. You're putting a lot of stress in your blood vessels, especially with that thick, syrupy blood running through your body with the high blood sugars. And so it's a lot more realistic to wait it out, maybe take some more medication, drink some water, and then go to the gym once those sugars are below 300. It's not an exact number. That's just what I use as my own recommendation for myself. And yeah, so if I keep it above 150 for pre-workout, before the workout, you go in, most likely you're going to have a great workout. It'll drop a little bit for cardio, rise a little bit for resistance, and hopefully you'll be able to get to a point where you can enjoy your workouts and not have to worry about your blood sugars too much, because you'll be able to anticipate those changes before they happen. And you'll be able to go in there and just focus on the workout and not freak out about what's going on with your blood sugar. So on that note, we are going to talk about modifications, and we've been talking about modifications on you have to modify if your blood sugars are high, if your blood sugars are low. You modify your workouts based on that. So if you are already low, don't do cardio. Kind of rhymes. Go low, no cardio. If you're already going high, maybe no resistance training. But on modifications, I recently did a workout where my legs got trashed. I destroyed them in a good way. Had a great workout, but I am so sore. And so instead of doing squats and doing our normal circuit training today for burning fat, we're going to go over a few ab exercises. We're going to go over a few different variations of abs. There are so many workouts for abs, it's ridiculous. There's different ways you can move to hit them. Your core is a very versatile area. It's very important to build core strength because we use it every day. I'm using it right now to sit up straight. Use it while you walk, you use it while you move, you work out, you incorporate your core in so many movements. It's important to have a strong core. So we're going to talk about a few ways to build up that strength right now. So we're going to go over the workout area and get started. Now you guys might be wondering why we started off in a different area as last time. It's because it's really sunny right here and the sun was in my eyes, so I didn't want to have that happening. And we didn't do the workout over there because the grass is still wet. So, as I mentioned, these are the glucose tablets. So they're just pretty generic. Here's nutrition information. We got 4 grams of carbohydrates, 0 fat, 0 protein, which means it's going to absorb a lot faster, gets straight into your bloodstream, and it helps with those low blood glucose numbers. This is my tester. I always have it with me. Make sure you test, if you're able to, before workouts. I know some of you guys are limited to 1 test a day. That's just the doctor's orders. That's okay. They know what they're talking about. But for me, I like to test quite often, honestly. So, and as type 1s, I'm a type 1 diabetic, we have to test a lot more frequently because our medication and many other variables can change your blood sugars in a moment's notice, so it's more important that we check. But I also have this guy, the Dexcom, that helps me check. It's a constant glucose monitor. It tells me my blood sugars on my phone and on my pump, and enables me to see at a quick glance what is going on with my blood sugars. So we're going to jump into the ab workout now. Not the full ab workout, but we're going to jump into what some good options are. So we'll start off with the standard crunch. I'm going to be on the ground for most of these. Actually, if you haven't warmed up yet, make sure you warm up. A way to warm up the core is just moving side to side. You can do some punches, kickboxing, make some fun movements. If you are able to, my favorite way to warm up core is to actually do some kickboxing movements because you're flexing each time you go in for that punch. You can also go for kicks, knees, all of the above. You're really going to engage your core for that. It's a great warm-up. If not, go for a walk, go for a run, bike ride in the gym, whatever it is, make sure you warm up, get the blood flowing. I went for a walk before this with the dog, so I'm already warmed up and I feel great. I've been talking a lot about this. I'm going to take a quick sip of water and we'll get started. So, first up, crunch. We have the standard sit-up off the ground. It's just you're sitting up and going back down. Lift your feet up. That's a crunch. We're going in. Lifting your feet up activates your lower abs. The crunch activates a bit of the upper. It's a great exercise that is very common. Everyone does it. Whenever you think of abs, that's usually the first exercise on people's mind is go for the crunch, go for the sit-up, but we're going to go for some other variations. So, as many of you have probably heard of this next exercise called the plank. It's not walking the plank like a pirate ship. You are creating a plank. You're making yourself look like a plank. So, first option is push-up position. We're just going to hold it. So instead of doing the push-ups like we would in a circuit, we're just going to hold it in the plank position. You are going to keep your back straight, your butt down. This is not a plank. This is a, I don't know, A-frame. You want to keep your body flat, engage your core, make sure you can feel it right here in your abs. Second option is down on your elbows. This will, it's a very similar exercise. There are different variations of the plank that we can do. One being going back and forth between hands and elbows. So you go on here. This is a bit more advanced, but this puts you through a lot more stress. It's gonna engage your core, your arms a little bit. It's gonna tire you out a lot faster. You also have side planks. Whoops, you can see my diabetic dog tag hanging out. So you have this side plank. I can do on the other side too, but then my back would be to you, so it wouldn't make any sense. This gets a bit of your obliques and serratus. It's a bit more advanced. Tuck that back in. For any of you type 1s out there, it's nice to have dog tags. Let medical professionals know what's going on if something were to happen. Next up, this one is definitely on the advanced side. It's called mountain climbers. So it's the plank with added difficulty. So one option is on your elbows. Go in here. This isn't exactly mountain climbers, but that's one variation. Second one, up in push-up position. You bring your knees up towards your elbows. You can do it slow and controlled, or you can do it fast. This is the mountain climber, because it feels like you're climbing up a mountain, because that's how steep mountains are. Another great one for obliques. Obliques are on the side. If you have a weight, if you have a gallon jug, whatever it is that you have, standing straight, lean down, you feel it stretch right here, then use these muscles to bring it back up. So you're down your side, let this glide alongside your leg, run on each side, You'll feel it alongside, mostly in your obliques. A little bit of serratus if you can engage them. You want to make sure you're not slouching over. All of these exercises, make sure you maintain good posture, good form, because it's much more important to have good form than it is to hit higher reps, to hit higher weight. It's a lot of people in the gym that we see trying to look good, trying to show off. They have bad form because they're trying to lift heavier. Not a great thing to do, because you put yourself at risk for injury, and if you have an injury, you can't go to the gym to show off and do all that fun stuff that you were just doing. So keep it easy, even if you're at home, if you're not trying to show off, make sure that you are prioritizing your form so that you don't get hurt. So those are a few new ab exercises for you guys today. We are going to probably be doing a HIIT circuit next week, which will be more of a fat burning and muscle building exercise, more focused on fat burning, because I know that's what a lot of our followers are looking for, and we'll be incorporating 1 to 2 of those ab exercises in that workout. So remember, we're here every weekend on Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Facebook Live, and these videos are also going on YouTube if you guys want to watch the replays over there. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you enjoyed this weekend warrior workout, and keep up the fight.